We knew this day was coming. Concord is officially dead right out of the gate. The Steam concurrent player count is 70% less than the open beta on release day. That is how dead this game is. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And if we look at the SteamDB numbers here for this game, if you recall, the early access beta in the middle of July hit a peak concurrent player count of 1,124 players. We then saw it increase 112% to 2,388 during the open beta. However, a month after that, before we got to that, we got this part here too. Remember, there is a report from the trophies indicating that the number of PlayStation players in the open beta actually declined compared to the early access beta, despite the open beta being obviously more open to more players. This is what Kess Eilers Stevenson shared. He says, using a gameplay data sample from over 3.1 million active PlayStation Network accounts, courtesy of our partnership with Game Insights, we can see that Concord has 8.1% fewer players in the second open beta than in the early access beta. He added, in our PlayStation chart that ranks the top 40 most popular games every week, Concord ranked in the number 29 position both weeks. So now fast forward to today when the game released. SteamDB reports that it hit a peak concurrent player count of just 697 players around 4 p.m. Eastern time. As of writing, there are only 587 people playing the game right now, although there might be something going on because let's just jump over here to SteamDB, and you can see that it's saying that there's 569 players right now. 24-hour peak is 569, but saying that the all-time peak was 697 5 hours ago. So obviously we're still in the first 24 hours. So you would think that the 24-hour peak would be at 697. So there might be something going on here, but nevertheless, these numbers are absolutely atrocious, absolutely abysmal. You can see that the chart is missing as well too. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if there's some kind of weird thing that Concord is doing or if it's a SteamDB thing, but there's clearly something happening here. But nevertheless, 697, 70%, over 70% less than that 2,388 number here. This is worse than Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. At least Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had like 13,000 peak concurrent when it first hit. So it actually did indeed ship some copies. This game is shipping almost no copies. We do have some early estimates here from VG Insights via SteamDB. They're saying it's shipped a little less than 3,000. Play Tracker is saying it's done 6,500. It is number 85 in top sellers on Steam, but who really knows what that means, right? I would assume that most of your top sellers are probably at the top of the list that are actually really, really moving units. Clearly seeing here, it could be potentially less than 3,000 units. And again, remember, we're looking at only a peak concurrent of 697 players. This is absolutely atrocious numbers right here. I mean, this is blowing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League out of the water. And it's likely that this is probably a triple-digit $1 million game. We saw that one of the developers, lead character designer, talked about this, I think just yesterday. John Wisniewski was saying that they have been developing this game for 8 years. So they have spent a lot of time on this and a lot of money on this. And the fact that it was began development 8 years ago, what year was that? That was 2016. And I think that explains the character designs that this game has. These character designs are absolutely atrocious. It also explains the utter pronoun nonsense that is in this game. This game, in my opinion, is probably clearly a reaction to the political landscape in the United States when it first began development in 2016. And you can see that. And none of the gamers want this at all. So let's look at some of the PlayStation numbers here. Obviously, PlayStation isn't as transparent as Steam is, but we do have a bestsellers list here for new games. You can see that it is 6th on this list here, behind Black Myth Wukong, Madden, Valorant. I don't know, what is this game right here? 7 Days to Die and Hunt Showdown 1896. It is selling better than Dustborn. You can see Dustborn is down here in 18th position, but we know that game only had a peak concurrent of 83 players after it released earlier this week. It has not topped that. I did check while I was writing this to see if it had increased at all. It has not. It's already losing players. The people who bought it have probably beat the game already, or they were like they played like the first 5 minutes and were like, what in the world is this trash, and never played it again. The game is not in the top 10 best-selling games in the United States on PlayStation. The top 10 currently include Fortnite, Black Myth Wukong, EA Sports, Madden NFL 25, Call of Duty, EA Sports College Football 25, EA Sports FC 25, Overwatch 2, EA Sports FC 24, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Valorant. You will note that the 2 games that are ahead of Concord here on the new games list, they're also not on the top 10 best sellers list, that being 7 Days to Die and Hunt Showdown 1896. So does not look like it is selling very well on PlayStation, similar to Steam. This game is so dead across all the platforms it released on, and they have no one to blame but themselves. That's right, Firewalk Studios can only blame themselves. After the game was initially showcased during a PlayStation State of Play presentation earlier this year, gamers made it abundantly clear they wanted nothing to do with the game, especially with it pushing pronoun nonsense and the DEI character designs, on top of the fact that it just looked like a cheap Overwatch clone. And it's like, why would you want to play an Overwatch clone when you can just play Overwatch or play Marvel Rivals, which is obviously a very similar Overwatch style game that is coming out as well, that obviously has much higher brand recognition. And what did Firewalk Studios do? They completely ignored the backlash. They just decided, hey, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. That's just noise. It really isn't going to affect us. Well, little did they know. And this is what they had to say. The company's director of IP, Kim Krines, did indeed address the backlash when asked about it in an interview with VGC. She said this: yeah, that trailer, that moment is such a tiny slice of everything that we've been working on for years and years. We're excited for the game and for the IP and for the game to be in people's hands, the IP to be in people's minds. This game is not going to be in anyone's minds. And if it is, it's going to be about how absolutely garbage it is and how poorly it performed. She continues saying, I'm personally very excited for the IP for folks to delve into the Galactic Guide. That is something they choose to do. For these vignettes to come out on a weekly basis, you'll start to fall in love with the depths of the characters. That's something that you learn week to week. Their personalities will unfold. Their relationships will unfold for you. Their backstories. None of that is something that you can get in a tiny little slice of it. But that's a start. There's something there. So I'm glad folks watched it. I'm glad they participated, and I can't wait for them to see more, to see everything that is there. This is absolutely not how you address the massive backlash this game got. And I mean, I guess they spent 8 years working on the game, so what could they really do? They probably could have just redesigned their characters. I don't feel like that would have been a big cost. Maybe it was. I mean, I feel like you could keep the hitboxes the same when you got those big guys and stuff like that. You could probably keep their game mechanics, but you probably could have easily redesigned a lot of these characters so they weren't pushing all of that absolutely disgusting, degenerate, woke nonsense. And they could have removed the pronouns, which is pushing transgender ideology, by buying into a lie that these people are trying to push. They're like, there's even characters that, like, they don't know what their gender is. They don't know what their pronouns are. It's like undecided or unknown, etc. And it's like, no, it's men or women. You're male or female. You know what it is. So they're clearly buying into all of this transgender nonsense. And they could have said, hey, we see that gamers don't actually like this, and we're going to get rid of this stuff. And I think that probably would have gone a long way, but they did not do that. I don't think they even made any changes to their gameplay, even after the early access beta and the open beta. I think they just added a bunch of maps in the open beta and hoped that the new people coming in wouldn't be as critical as in the early access beta. But this game is dead, And Firewalk Studios has no one else to blame but themselves for making it, because gamers were not interested in it. They did not want this game on a variety of different levels, which we've gone over. But what do you guys make of these absolutely abysmal numbers here? 70% decline. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.